150. Are we here? Just give it a second if you are watching. I think we are back. Look at that. I think we're back. Hello. What on earth is going on with my stream? Hang on 1 second. Yeah, it's working, but it's not working. It's not working from here. Let me just check. Everything seems to be working apart from the one thing that I am watching on. Which is really weird. Let me come out and go back in again. Maybe it's just me at my end. There we go. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, everybody. Right, I've had some kind of really weird internet glitches. It's been disconnecting, reconnecting. I don't know what the problem is. I was running late because I was turning lots of other things off in the house to see if it was that, but I don't think it is. We're back anyway. Good morning, Mags, Danny, Chris is here, Packer. I'm not sure who is in chat. Who else is here? I'm sure I have just seen Tariq. Tariq is here. KB is here. Good morning to you all. Right, let's cut to the chase. We are going to look at the 50 basis point cut today. Of course we are. Where would we be without that? And you can see the markets are very happy right now. We're up 3% on Bitcoin. We're up nearly 5% on Ethereum. Total market cap 2.15 trillion. And I was awfully close. I said yesterday we would go over $100 billion in volume. We're at 95 billion. Bitcoin dominance, ETH dominance has also pumped quite a lot, up to 70.8%. Are we going to see Bitcoin dominance break down? We're going to have a look at that in a minute. We're also going to look at ETH using, or Wisdom using ETH. We're going to look at Chainlink and real world assets. We're going to look at Sui pumping. We're going to look at Jamie Dimon. We're going to look at the Google crypto stroke blockchain RPC that they are launching. What does that mean for crypto? So there's lots to get into as well. And of course, if you are new here, smash the like button. We're at 167,300 followers on our mystical journey to $200,000. Now, the title of the show today, Did You Survive? I said yesterday, please do not leverage it. We didn't know what was going to happen. You could have shorted the market, we could have ripped, you could have longed the market, we could have dumped. So hopefully the majority of you didn't do that, and everybody will be a lot calmer today. We've seen half a percent cut, 50 basis points. I have got up the predictions for the next cut because we're not happy with 0.5%. We want more. So we are going to go and have a look at that in a minute. But first, let's go and have a look at the markets. So Bitcoin is up, as you would expect. Ethereum, BNB, Solana had a very good day yesterday. Don't forget, Breakpoint is today. Solana Breakpoint is today. So all the really sexy things that Solana are working on over there, they've got AI bots going on. They've got all kinds of things going on Solana. That is happening today, as well as Token 2049 going on. So it's a busy time. USDC, as I said before, USDC, USDT, they're both terrible investments. They're always $1. And I mean, they're really, you would call them stable coins, couldn't you? XRP just under 60 cents. Let's have a look at the top gainers and losers. Now, yesterday, were we not just talking about PopCat? Yes, we were. Celestia, I wouldn't touch that with the barge pole. That's up 21%. Say, having a good run, up 20. Phantom, having a good run, up 12.6. Wormhole, ASI is $1.50. Excuse me. That's had a bit of a mad run because that was down at $1.05 not too long ago. Excuse me. Sui is up 11%. plenty of gainers near AVAX. This is pretty much my portfolio. Near is up, SUI is up, FET is up. What else do I have up here? I don't have anything else up there. Bitcoin is obviously up, so it's a good run. I can't imagine we're going to see too many losers today. Nervos, KuCoin is down a touch, and then it's the stable coins. You know it's a green day when the stable coins are in the bottom. So all in all, a very good day for crypto. We need a few more of these, don't we? We need a few more, especially when we haven't broken where I said we were going to break. Now then, there's a lot of X files to get through. I am going to be in an absolute rush today because there's a lot to talk about, a lot to get through. And I'll try my best to get through it in the hour that we have. Oh, we have a poll question of the day as well. The poll question is, can we break out this week? 64% have said yes so far, 36% have said no. Let's have a look. Donald Trump pays for food at a bar using Bitcoin. He doesn't actually pay using Bitcoin. He scans a QR code and he pays for the beers. However, I'm just nitpicking. We've got a president of America and potentially the president-elect of America buying something with Bitcoin, okay? Now, again, for those of you that are new here, we would never have said this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I talk about how when the internet first started, it was nowhere, then everywhere all at once. Crypto is nowhere, and then it's going to be everywhere all at once. And if you don't think the ex-president of America standing at a bar buying the beers with Bitcoin isn't bullish, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. Now then, this is one of our 3 picks for the bull run. This is now live on Revolut, which is like an online bank, okay? Revolut have got Bonk on there, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a few others. Mu is also on there now. So again, super, super, super bullish on Mu. If you haven't got any, what are you doing? And don't forget, we are, of course, sponsored by Mu. We were going to have a sponsored stream last night, but they are everywhere. They are currently at a breakpoint. I think they're at token 2049 as well. There's a lot going on, so we will try and do it as soon as humanly possible. Bitcoin historically has been quiet between July and November in election years, with major upside starting soon after. Ben Cowan today thinks we are going to rip for the next, I think he said week, and then we're going to dump. And he actually mentioned $44,000. $44,000. Maybe we are. Every time we look like we're going up, we come down. Every time we go down, we look like we're going down, we come up again. The Oracle on Monday, he had 54,000 as the target for Bitcoin. The Fed decision has changed all of that in the short term anyway. And I want to show you the charts. I'll show you that we're not out of the woods yet, but it's still better than being at 54,000. Now then, this list is getting longer every single week. Forget the Bitcoin miners on the right. Look at the companies on the left that are holding Bitcoin. You have the usual ones. MicroStrategy is obviously top dog. You have the Bitcoin group, you have Block, you have Semi-Air Scientific, we talked about them before in the past. Metaplanet, we talked about, they are called the Japanese version of MicroStrategy. So even though these numbers are quite small, you've got to remember, 50 Bitcoin is still $3 million. 1,000 Bitcoin is $60 million. So there's a lot of money slowly building up. 303,000 Bitcoin held by those companies. That is 15% of the total supply. So it will take time, but at some point in the very near future, we are going to see a massive supply shock, okay? It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, we're going to see a supply shock. And when that happens, the price of Bitcoin is going to go crazy. And yes, there are people out there talking about the fact that Bitcoin has been superseded, the technology has been taken over. I will refer you back to what I always talk about, VHS and Betamax. Betamax was the better technology. VHS won. Most of you probably don't know what VHS is. It was a video cassette player. That's all it was. You put a tape in, you watched a movie from Blockbusters, you brought it back 3 days later. It wasn't anywhere near as good, but what did it have? It had adoption. Bitcoin is on the front pages. It's in the eyes of all of these investors. We know that all of these blockchains are better, faster, but they are not Bitcoin. And it's all well and good. I am sure that there is a better precious metal in the world than gold, but gold still has the biggest market cap. So it doesn't matter if it's the best technology, it's the one that's adopted and the one that's held that will win. And in this instance, it's Bitcoin. I don't see a future where Bitcoin isn't number one in terms of crypto assets. Many people do, and I understand the maxi thing, we've talked about it before, Bitcoin tribalism, Ethereum tribalism, Cardano, it's all nonsense, it's all playgrounds. Now this is a more exciting one. This is the actual nation states holding Bitcoin. Betamax lasted a couple of years, yeah, that was it. It lasted a few years, and they were like 3 times the size in height, but they were smaller tapes. It didn't work. VHS just flooded the market. They pretty much did what PlayStation and Nintendo did. They sold their machine as cheap as possible to get people to buy the machine, because once you've bought the machine, you've got to use the tapes. That was it. Now then, these are nation states. America and China, as you would expect, number 1 and number 2. Remember, Donald Trump wants America to hold 1 million Bitcoin, 5% of the supply. That means America buying 796,000 Bitcoin. That's what he wants to buy. China is in second, and then little old Blighty, little old UK. I pray that we don't sell that 61,000 Bitcoin. Then you've got the Ukraine, you've got Bhutan and El Salvador, and then nobody else. I guarantee you, in 4 or 5 years' time, this will look nothing like it does today. We will see, maybe we'll see Europe, maybe we'll see Japan, maybe we'll see the UAE, maybe we'll see other smaller nation states holding 5 or 10,000 Bitcoin. But this is the battle. This one, which I've just shown you, this was stage 3. So stage 1 was build. Stage 2 was early adopters. Stage 3 was more along the financial institutions and companies that were going to hold it on their balance sheets. And then the end game. And there are people that have talked about this end game for a while. It's not me. There's a few people that I follow that work for the American government, American military, and they talk about the next great battle might be one based around energy. Well, this is going to change over the next 4 years. This is the end game. Nation states holding a percentage of their reserves in Bitcoin. Over time, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and less volatile, it is gold without the inherent problem of having a massive Fort Knox to store it in. And it's easily transferable. Easily transferable. You can send 200,000 Bitcoin in 20 minutes, 15 minutes. You try sending $20 billion of gold from America to London. How do you get it there? You fly it on a plane. What are the inherent risks? What happens if the plane falls into the sea? How do you get it back? How do you secure it? Gold is great. Gold has served us wonderfully well, and this isn't going to replace gold. It's going to accompany it. But this is so much faster and quicker. This is digital property, digital energy, whatever you want to call it. So big, exciting news. And now we have, hopefully, we see a lot of shorts on this chart. India got zero with huge investors. Absolutely. Well, that chart only shows you the percentage held by that nation state. It doesn't contain the amount of Bitcoin held by Indians. There is a difference. The same with every other country. The UK, America, I'm sure if you somehow managed to find out the locations of all the wallets, you'd find out that it was more likely going to be the likes of India, Asia, America, Europe. But that's just the nation states declared as well. So then, over the last 24 hours, nearly twice as many shorts have been wrecked as longs, but still $200 million worth of liquidations for what we've just seen isn't actually that bad. We didn't move that quickly, that far, did we? We moved less than 5%, I think, maybe 5% dead on. So it wasn't a huge move. We didn't see cascading liquidations. I think everybody sat on the sides, like we said yesterday, and just waited for the news. So $200 million isn't really that bad. There's not a lot of liquidations in the last hour or even in the last 4 hours. And really, the majority of it happened in the last 12 hours, as you would expect. So lots of liquidations going on. Very quickly then, what's the Dixie doing? We said that we want the Dixie to break down, but will it bounce on the news? Well, it's not really moved, has it? I know I said yesterday that I would like to see it break down to this 99.6 range. We're currently just sitting under this. I mean, my line is probably wrong on this daily chart. If I move it down just a touch, it should be about there. I think maybe a bit lower. That's 100.5. So we wicked and we wicked, and you know, maybe what we see now, as we saw here, we've seen this kind of action. Maybe we see this, and maybe we see it move up to 102, something like that. Maybe we've bottomed. Interest rate cuts can lead to money flowing in, as well as money flowing out. It's not hard and fast. I said yesterday that if rate cuts happen, it makes treasury yields and returns a lot less desirable. Maybe money will be pulled out of the dollar. Maybe that will cause the price to come down. Conversely, maybe people are going to start buying back into stocks, riskier stocks. We just have to wait and see. Maybe we formed a bottom. Maybe we are going to move up. But I don't want us to move up too quickly. Now then, very quickly, again, I'm trying to get through as much of the gossip news as we can. This is the CME Group. This is FedWatch. I don't really look at this very often because I don't see the need of it. It kind of gives you probabilities. Now, this is really small. Some of it's a lot bigger, so you can see. So this is where we are today. 5%. And these are the next kind of targets, if you like. So 7th of November is the next meeting. By that point, we'll probably have a couple more CPI numbers, a couple more property, housing numbers. We're going to have some more unemployment numbers. So we'll have 2 more numbers to look at before the next meeting. Now, there's a 65% chance of a 0.25% cut, and there's only a 35% chance of a 0.5% cut again. Now, I said yesterday it would be 0.25 because he is a crap Santa. He doesn't bring the presents that you want. You wanted a BMX, you got a wooden abacus. Yesterday, he brought me a BMX. I'm very happy. Next Christmas, I'm not expecting a BMX. I'm expecting my wooden abacus because he's already given me the BMX. So I am thinking that we'll come down to 4.75 from 5 next month. In November. But given there's only 2 more decisions before the end of the year, is he going to try and get us down by a whole percentage point? If so, is he going to do all of that in November and leave December out? And then in January and February, see what the consumer spending figures were like for Christmas? I don't know. But it's pricing in 0.25%. They got it right yesterday. 66% said it was going to be 0.5%. They got it right yesterday. They're probably going to get it right today. But this is pretty good at showing you kind of like the feelings in the chart. So you've got 65% saying it will come down by 0.25, and you've got 0.5% with 35%. So that's pretty much it. You can go and look this up. You don't need me. This is the CME group. Just type in CME group funding rates, and you'll find it. That's all you've got to do. As I say, I don't really look it up. I normally include it as a tweet. Now then, we are going to look at the Bitcoin chart after we've read what Powell had to say for himself. Jerome Powell says the US economy is basically fine. Now, the last time somebody said that anything was basically fine, bits were falling off it. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I am getting messages. 1 minute. So, give me a second. Right, Jerome Powell says the US economy is basically fine. There he is. Now, if you do that and you put a beard on him and then you maybe put a Santa hat, he does look like Santa. If you do that, he looks like he's had too many woodbines. Anyway, let's move on very quickly. As concerns of the weak US economy are rampant, he has basically said, we are fine. Inflation is edging closer to the target of 2%. As you know from Trueflation, it's actually at 1%. He predicts 2% growth rate. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. Our primary focus is on bringing down inflation, and appropriately so. One thing that can't be ignored is the labour market, which is weak. But remember what he wants. Low inflation, low housing inflation, high unemployment. That's what he wants. If there are 4 jobs for every person in America, wage inflation will go through the roof, because you can take what job you want. And if you don't like it, you leave. And then that company has to pay more. That's wage inflation. If there are 5 people for every 1 job, those companies can pay you less. And that brings wage inflation down. Very simple. If nobody buys houses because they don't have any money, because mortgage rates are so high, guess what? House prices come down. Not individually, but across the board. And of course, inflation. It might be well and good targeting 2%, but everything in the world is 30% more expensive than it was 5 years ago. So when you see your government say, oh, inflation's only 1.5%, we've done an incredible job, say to them, why does my loaf of bread now cost €3 when it cost €2 4 years ago? Why has it gone up 50%? Because they don't want deflation. They never want deflation. If they wanted to get the economy back to where it was, they would want the prices to go back to where it was. But they don't, because deflation shows sign of a weak economy, the stock markets will tank, everything will collapse. It's like a runaway train. It can't be stopped. It can be slowed down, it can be diverted a little bit, but it can't be stopped. And you are at the other end of all of this. Your grocery bill, which was $100 a month, is now $150 a month, and they want you to be happy that it's only going to be $153 next year. That's what they want you to be happy about. It is smoke and mirrors. Inflation is theft. There's no question labour market is a pillar of strength. We know that. Powell doesn't seem to be eager to talk about is the mountain of debt. It's 93% of GDP in 2023. Again, we've covered debt. It's smoke and mirrors. The American government is 24 trillion in debt, I believe, and that is a lie. They are not 23 or 24 trillion dollars in debt. If you break it down, they are about $7 trillion in debt, and that money is owed to the likes of the UK, Japan, and China. Now, if you go and look at the UK economy, they also claim to be trillions and trillions in debt, and when you break that down, they only owe $800 billion to the likes of America, China, and Japan. So you can see a common theme here. The American government owes about 20% of its debt to itself. It owes about 30% of its debt to the Fed. It's just numbers on a piece of paper. And I don't know whether they use it to scare you. I don't know whether they use it as a reason to print money. But debt should not be anything in your country, if you're in America, sorry, that you should worry about. If you are in a smaller nation and you owe a lot of money to America or China, then yes, it's not good. However, let's move very quickly onto the Bitcoin chart. We are not out of the woods. Are we? And why are we not out of the woods? Because we have not broken that line. 62,800. Oh no, it's actually a little bit less. Bring it down there. 62,700 is the line we need to break. And then what we need to do is we need to do this. So this lower high that we need to break, everybody's talking about this one, which is at about 65,000. I don't consider that to be the lower high. For me, it's this one. I don't consider this to be a proper pump. I think this is like a mini pump. So I think that we need to get above 68,000 to really be back in the land of the living. We can move this white line along wherever you want. You can put it up there if you wish, and that brings it in at about 67.7. Okay, that's where we need to break. I don't agree with this one. I think that is I don't even think that had the strength to get back towards 68,000. So to break the lower high, I think we need to break this line and break above 68,000. That's just my opinion. Now, because we're not out of the woods yet, we can look at what's happened. And this is going to be very sad because most people out there now think we're going to $100,000, and they could very well be right. But what has happened every single time we have broken to this level? We have been rejected and we have come down. And that takes us to 52,000, which would be possibly seen maybe as a lower low. So we're not out of the woods, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not being all, I'm not being all bearish. I know Packer said at the start of the show, before I managed to log in because we had the problems, we had, let's have a look. This is what Packer said. I'm not putting you on the spot, Packer, and I'm not picking you out at anything. I'm just very quickly showing the sentiment that most people have got. I can't scroll that far up. Basically, Packer said, I haven't been this bullish in a very long time. And you should be bullish because this is a change in the direction of the Fed. Easier monetary policies. We need M2, the money to supply, to increase. That isn't really increasing at the minute. So yes, be bullish, but also run out of the woods. Bears can run very, very quickly. And yes, like I said, if we start to do this, I would be more than delighted. And this is early, remember, because I'm not expecting a bullish Bitcoin until maybe the first or second week in October. And then I think we will pull away and move to the upside. Right then, moving quickly on. Wisdom Tree introduces Ethereum-based tokenization platform for its customers. We spoke yesterday about people calling for the downfall of Ethereum, saying it's not the top dog anymore, saying it's not really the coin it was, and all of these kind of things. You know what? When you have BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Fidelity, even Wisdom Tree, using Ethereum as the backbone, don't tell me that Ethereum is finished. If I read a news article in a few weeks and it says something along the lines of BlackRock, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, ARK Invest are looking to provide a tokenized version of ETFs via the Solana platform. I'd be worried, but I'm not, because Ethereum is the choice. It's the chosen one by the institutions. And for that reason, I don't see, again, the same reason I don't see Bitcoin ever losing its position. I don't see a future where Ethereum isn't in the top 4 or 5 because of its usage. Okay, yes, there are new projects coming up, but Ethereum makes all the money at the moment. Ethereum is getting all of the traction with the big dogs at the moment. And until that time changes, I wouldn't be backing against Ethereum. If anything, Ethereum will just get stronger the more and more institutional money comes to Ethereum. It will just get stronger. The platform's goal is to allow customers to interact with any WisdomTree issued token on different blockchains. It allows firms to access yield-generating products on-chain with blockchain-integrated record keeping. Firms will receive digital records of WisdomTree digital funds in their wallets, and the tokens can be self-hosted or held with third-party custodial services. Now, again, one of the things we talked about on here was that a lot of companies are starting to look at putting their treasury on the blockchain. Now, this is just the next logical step. If you have $100 million sitting in your bank account that you're paying fees on, they're finding ways to take it off you, there's bank charges left, right and centre. If somebody offered you a solution where you could take that money, put it onto the blockchain, pay no fees, and then earn maybe 3, 4, 5% from WisdomTree, do you think that's going to happen? Because I do. Will Peck, head of digital assets, said that increasing interest in tokenized real-world assets prompted the creation of WisdomTree Connect. This opens additional business-to-business and business-to-business-to-consumer opportunities for WisdomTree. According to RWA.xyz, the total market cap of US Treasuries is over 2.2 billion, which is obviously small at the minute. They offer seven different tokenized products amounting to 12.2 million. Again, these are small numbers. We said a few days ago, these numbers, we look back on this stream in 5 years' time, these numbers are going to be tiny. Do you remember when WisdomTree had $12 million? Now it's got 2 trillion. Do you remember when the total market cap of US Treasuries online was 2.2 billion? Now it's 4 billion. That's what's going to happen. The same way if you look back at some of our streams where we're talking about Bitcoin at $16,000 and $17,000, it comes around a lot faster than you expect. So great news for Ethereum and of course WisdomTree. They're going to tap into all of that juicy treasury money. They'll take their haircut, maybe they'll take 0.5%. You'll get 4% on your $100 million. I mean, who's going to turn down $4 million? And there's no fees involved. So Ethereum isn't looking good, however. It is on the turn. And we did bounce off this very solid line over here. We've bounced off it a couple of times. And we are starting to see a move back up. But as you can see, the bull market support band has shot down from 3.2 to 2.8 in a couple of months' time. It's not really moved. Good morning, Eugene. Just give me a minute of a sneeze. Oh, the colder weather, for some reason, makes me sneeze a lot more on the streams. So what do we need to do? I suppose we really need to get back towards 2,700, 2,900. Get back up there. That's the kind of the area we need to target. But like I said, with Bitcoin, we're not out of the woods yet. We could very well see a couple of weeks where Ethereum starts to do this, gets to this bull market support band and gets rejected. Maybe. Or we wiggle around. Remember, the 12th of October is a good date. That's kind of like the middle. We could wiggle around here and then suddenly we could go off to the races in October. If October is a 25% pump, then that would put... Get rid of that advert so I can carry on watching the stream. There we go. If we get a 25% pump in October, that puts Ethereum back at about, well, pretty much where that white line is, which is the top of the bull market support band. So in October, we could see that kind of movement, which would be obviously fantastic for those of you holding Ethereum. Remember, your bags should be packed by October. Maybe this news that's come out from the Fed, maybe that's going to make it start sooner, and then maybe we have a correction in December. Remember, we're not going to just keep going up now. We're at 62,000. If we do another 20%, we're back at that target that I've got in the bottom corner of the screen, which is $74,000. That doesn't mean we're going to go straight from 74 to 84 to 90. We are probably, if you have 7 retracements of 30%, say, in an 18-month run, that's 2.5 months per 30% retracement. So you work out the last one we've had, and you move that forward, and there's a very good chance we could have a retracement in December or January. I know a lot of people are talking about selling in December, maybe buying back in January, February. Yes, if we do go on a big run towards 85,000 by the end of the year, then yes, take some profits. But we don't know when that 30% correction is going to come. And if it does come at 80,000, that brings us back to 56. So you won't have missed the boat if that's the case. Now then, moving on, how long do we have left? 20 minutes, I suppose. Remember, as well, to help the algorithm, smash the like button or the follow button or whatever, comment in chat, drop any questions you've got. That really helps us out. So Chainlink's Sergey Nazarov predicts asset tokenization will transform Web3. Trillions of dollars will flow into Web3 once the details of the Internet of Contracts are worked out. And again, this is kind of like a follow-on from the previous article, which is Wisdom Tree. You've got a few different, probably 10 now, different solid real-world asset projects. Some very large cap, some very small cap. Some will go out of business, some will do incredibly well. But real-world assets, they're here to stay. They're here to stay because you're tokenizing an asset and you're removing all of that friction of the cost from it. So what I mean by that is, if you go and buy shares through a broker, you buy $1,000 of shares, what's that going to cost you? $50 maybe? So what's that? 0.5% you're going to be charged. If you go online and they charge you 1%, are you going to take up that offer at 1%? Of course you are. So it will take, again, it will take time for these things to happen. Maybe it will take a couple of more years for it to happen, but it will happen. So the surge of value flowing from TradFi will drastically alter the nature of the blockchain industry. This is the role I think we should all be preparing for. TradFi will be the largest customer of DeFi. Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol, I think it needs a new name. It's called CCIP, and we all know what CCP is. May have a crucial role to play in an emerging internet of contracts that will link central bank digital currency, asset chains, consortium chains, and public blockchains. He added, again, interoperability, on and off ramps between different types of financial institutions and the blockchain. Different types of transactions between the likes of Solana, Ethereum's EVM, Cosmos, the Cosmos chain, Cardano, XRP will be involved. Once we all start to merge together, then you'll start to see it all working. At the minute, it's kind of like we've got a car. We've got a Beetle, a Volkswagen Beetle in our garage, and we've kind of put some doors on, and we've kind of got a wheel or two on, and the wheels work, and the windscreen wipers might work, but it's not finished. It's not polished. It doesn't have nice leather seats in, and it doesn't have my leather seat on the roof that Tariq's going to buy to put on top of his Tesla for me. So we've got this car that we've half assembled. And if you want an example of what that half assembly looks like, if I said to you, how many wallets would you need to go across all the different blockchains? You would need 12. You'd need 12 different wallets. If I was to phone Tariq right now, how many different interconnected parts would I need to phone Tariq? I'd have my phone line going over the fiber cable to an exchange, which then goes to the main cable, which then goes to maybe a data center somewhere. Then maybe that goes through an underwater cable to a different network that connects to that network. You get the point. They're all different networks. But you don't bat an eyelid with that phone call. And in crypto, we're not there. We don't have the UIs available. You might think these things look really cool, but they're not interconnected. And Chainlink is one of those ones that are trying to connect it. They've already put through $15.5 trillion in assets in 2 years. That's how much money they're transacting. Their profits are insane. The Chainlink profit is incredible how much money they make. So if you want to back a horse based on profitability, you back the likes of Ethereum and you back the likes of Chainlink because they make a fortune. You can actually wrap a token in instructions so that when it reaches its destination, it ends up triggering the event it's intended for. I mean, this is pretty cool. I could send 1 Ethereum from my wallet, tell it to send it to Tariq on, I don't know, the Solana blockchain. It gets there. It automatically gets sent on Solana to Tariq. It's cool stuff. It's not quite finished yet. And there is kind of like the history of the internet. You've got your DNS, your SMTP, TCP, your IP, FTP, you've got all of that. So again, the next stage of the process is really how do you get to the TradFi ecosystem to properly utilize all of this in such a way that allows the value from their systems to fall onto various blockchains and into DeFi. Again, a good talk. And again, we talk about good actors and bad actors. We talked a lot about bad actors in the last few weeks. Of course, we are going to see Sergey talking about using Chainlink. That's his job. Remember why these people say these things. We're going to talk about Jamie Dimon in a minute. Remember why these people say these things. What's their motivation? They are not coming from necessarily a good point. So even though Sergey is talking in very general, realistic and common sense ways, he's still talking about using Chainlink. The same way that Vitalik will stand up and tell you how wonderful DeFi will be, but he's still talking about Ethereum. Charles will always talk about Cardano. When they bash or when they promote, ask yourself why. Why are they bashing it? Larry Fink stood up last week and said I was wrong about Bitcoin. And I said to you at the time, no, he wasn't. He was absolutely spot on, because the narrative he wanted was to keep all of the institutional investors away from Bitcoin until he had BlackRock set up. And if you don't believe that, BlackRock, a certain company in America, and a certain FTX were going to create a gated way for people to access crypto via a product. FTX, BlackRock, and another company were going to do that I won't mention the name of. That fell apart because FTX were a bunch of scammers. But you know what they're doing. And now the only path that Larry Fink has got left is to run with the ETF, the same as everybody else, and then create his tokenized stock exchange. So they're not in it for your benefit, they're in it for everybody's benefit. Now then, SUI has gone up 36% amid a bullish breakout. Is $1.50 the next target? Christian Encila wrote this allegedly 32 minutes ago, although I don't think so because I found it last night. SUI made some gigantic moves recently, posting bullish signals. There was a 33% rally, pushing the price up to 1.18 to $1.18. Why is this happening? Price forecast for the altcoin predicts significant increase in the next few months, and an upswing could propel SUI by 245% in the next 3 months. Again, October, November, December are going to be bullish for crypto. So if Bitcoin goes up 25%, there is a good chance that some alts are going to pump 2 or 3x, absolutely. The price chart of SUI shows a sequence of higher highs and lower lows, which confirms this. SUI has gradually climbed from a low of 60 cents, passing through several resistance points. While the support is held at 112, that's an impossible to read chart. We'll bring our own up. We'll have a look at the SUI chart. Again, I hold SUI. I bought it the day it came out. I've made a video about it. I like the technology, but it suffers from adoption. If it doesn't get adopted, it's pointless. And believe you me, if I get an opportunity to sell SUI at a decent price, then I am going to sell it. Now, this is a pretty solid breakout, but there are some warning signs in this chart that you can see pretty much straight away around, I'd say around that level there. We came up to where we were on this kind of area of support, and we've now found it to be resistance. So my advice is very simple. You don't chase a pump. In 3 weeks, we have gone from a low there of about 74 cents. We went all the way up to 139. So we almost nearly went up 100%. I would wait for a retracement. I don't know if we're going to break out. If Bitcoin rips, ignore everything I'm saying. If Bitcoin goes sideways, you might want to wait for this. Okay, that area there. Why? Because that was a very strong level of resistance. We want to turn that into support. So my advice on SUI is, if you want to go and buy it, go and buy it. If you want to wait for it to retrace, look at something around $1.14, $1.15. That's about 10% down from where we are now, maybe. And then move on. But like I say, I have got no allegiance to SUI. If this goes to $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, whatever that market cap will be when I've worked it out, then I will be selling it because I don't have 100% faith in this project. It's a good project. It's got great technology. I need some bullish news to push it even higher. People are talking about SUI, by the way, being a top 10 cryptocurrency. If everybody's top 10 cryptocurrency was a top 10 cryptocurrency, we would have 50 top 10 cryptocurrencies. Now, SUI, I would imagine, is going to be there. So for SUI to be a top 10, let's just play the game for a minute, shall we? For SUI to be a top 10, it's 3.5. It would need to do a, let's call it a 4x. So it'd have to go to $5. Do I see $5 in the tea leaves for SUI in the next couple of weeks? Certainly not. The 300% gain that we're talking about would take it to 10 billion. That would put it at the likes of Avalanche and Cardano. Do I think SUI is anywhere near Tron, Cardano, and Avalanche, or even Chainlink? No, I don't. So I think we could top out here and maybe curve down. And if I'm wrong and Bitcoin pumps and the market pumps, so be it. But I think we're going to find a level of resistance there and we're going to come back down. How long do we have left? So why is it pumping? Well, there are a couple of new Grayscale Trust. You wouldn't have seen it, Tariq. Sorry, I made a. Actually, no, you should have seen it. I made a video. About this, and I put the video up. And the video went live on Saturday, I think, or Sunday. But there's a video about it. Just look for Grayscale, and it tells you all you need to know. So yes, it's covered. And it also covered it for another few of the tokens as well. So that is why. But there's a few coins like that. I think I said it had, for one of the tokens we covered, Grayscale held $900,000 worth of the token, and it pumped the price by 30%. It doesn't make any sense. So Jamie Dimon brags that JP Morgan is a real blockchain user. JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon has said his bank is one of the bigger users of the blockchain, but he still hates Bitcoin. There he is. Look at that man. What a beautiful specimen. And you know why he hates it? Is it because he can't control it? And if you want to know more about that, go and look at why Chase is at the end of JP Morgan. They were all part and parcel of the subprime mortgage crash that happened in 2008, 2009. They have been fined and fined, same as BlackRock have been fined and fined and fined, and yet they still find ways to bend the rules. Billionaire banker Dimon said Tuesday that his bank, one of the largest in the world, is one of the biggest real users of the blockchain. JP Morgan is probably one of the biggest users of blockchain, a real user, an actual user, as opposed to whatever he's talking about there. He said in an interview at the Georgetown Saros Center for Financial Markets, again, why is he going to bash Bitcoin? Why did Larry Fink bash Bitcoin? Because he's not involved in it. That's why. If he was involved within it, he would be happy. Diamond has long criticized Bitcoin, calling it a fraud back in 2017 and last year saying he'd close it down if he could. And now you understand why. They can't control it. If you, and this is all documented, you don't have to take my word for it, I'm not putting a tinfoil hat on. If you go and look at the price of silver manipulation, the Euribor interest rate manipulation, if you go and look at various stocks and trade manipulations that have gone over the last 20 or 30 years, Jamie Dimon is not a saint. Jamie Dimon wants to buy and own and control an asset, the same way that BlackRock does. And again, this is public information. I'm not making any of this up. BlackRock will buy a controlling share of a company because it's so large, and then it will use your money to get rid of the CEO and put their own CEO in charge, and they will maximize their profits. JP Morgan does the same thing. Again, it's all documented. There's nothing I'm saying which is outside of the realm of public knowledge. I'm not a fan of cryptocurrency, he said on Tuesday. So make your mind up, Jamie. Are you not a fan of Bitcoin, or are you not a fan of cryptocurrency? Because they are two different things. Yes, they've got their own blockchain, and yes, they will use the blockchain for transactions, but he is not going to promote a product that his company doesn't sell. Why would he? Now, again, there are instances in life where a company doesn't adapt to its environment. A perfect example is the digital camera. Kodak, Fujifilm, massive companies. You can even go and have a look at the likes of IBM. IBM mainframe computers, big company, now owned by the Chinese or the Japanese, I can't remember which. Why? They didn't adapt. I am not going to say JP Morgan is going to go out of business because they didn't buy Bitcoin. Don't be ridiculous. Of course they're not. JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon are going to look foolish for saying that Bitcoin is a fad. Now, I don't know if you remember, you're probably too young to remember, but quite a few years ago, when I was a very young child, somebody once said that computers are never going to last. The maximum amount of memory that you will get into a computer, I think, was 16 or 64 bytes or kilobytes? Somebody very famous said that. I haven't got time to look it up now. The point of the matter is, people say things that they will live to regret. And JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon are just being Johnny Big Balls and saying things that he thinks he wants his investors to like. I guarantee you, 20% of the people that have accounts with JP Morgan will hold an ETF with another provider, such as BlackRock. I guarantee it. And what will happen in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, is JP Morgan will start to offer Bitcoin ETFs because they will want a percentage of the pie. I can guarantee it clear as day. Look at Larry Fink's U-turn. He made the U-turn as soon as BlackRock had the product available. Jamie Dimon might be going down the route of using blockchain for same-day settlements, cross-border payments. He might be using it for creating their own tokenized exchange. And on that tokenized exchange, you might see the likes of the IBIT and other ETFs. So again, take everything these people say with a pinch of salt. Everybody is going to pump their own bags. Everybody. Don't necessarily believe every word that this man says. Look at Chairman Powell, Santa Claus. Even he got it wrong. He was being Mr. Negative all along, and then all of a sudden, pop, 0.5% rate cut. So don't believe everything that's said. Right then, very quickly, and lastly, let's to get rid of. How are we doing on the charts, by the way? Back over 62. Oh no, we're not doing too bad. 62.3. We've got to go a lot higher. We've got to go a lot higher. Google Cloud unveils blockchain RPC service, what it means for adoption. They unveil a blockchain RPC service that promises to catalyze greater Web3 adoption. Now, I have a massive, absolutely massive problem with this. Decentralization does not mean having 10,000 Ethereum nodes all running on Google Cloud. It does not mean that you will have 2,000 Solana validators running on the Google Cloud. That is not decentralization. Decentralization comes in multiple ways. You have physical decentralization, which to some extent DeepIn is part of, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. So having hosting in Japan, China, America, Europe, Africa, Australia, having it decentralized around the world. There is obviously a point where there is always going to be the weakest link. You know, if there is an EMP that hits the Earth and knocks out every transistor on the planet, then of course nothing's going to work. But I saw this a few months ago when they did it with AVAX, and I thought, so what happens if you get 30% or 40% of the validators using the Google Cloud and Google goes down, as has happened in the past? Same with Microsoft, same with Amazon Web Services, they can go down. You don't want a blockchain to have any level of reliability on one individual. Even if Google Cloud is based in 20 different countries, it's still probably got some kind of single point of failure involved. On Wednesday, the firm announced a blockchain remote procedure call service that aims to provide developers with a reliable, cost-effective and scalable way to access blockchain data. Google Cloud Blockchain is only compatible with Ethereum for now. Yes, fine. Service is a free tier that offers up to 100 data requests a second. Very decent. The RPC is the latest tool in Google Cloud's growing suite of Web3 products. I think they've also, as well as teaming up with AVAX, did they not also team up with Solana as well? I think Solana have teamed up with Filecoin and Google at some point in the past. Google is one of the largest tech companies, significant resources, support Web3 services. Yes, we know all of that. I don't like centralized products, whether it's Oracle-based services or validators. I'm not a fan. I know Google have got a validator option on there. Again, not a fan of that either. Anyway, it's 12 o'clock. Kishan, 74K I expect today, but it will stay at 64K. Do you know what? It would be incredible if we got anywhere near. If we get above our bull market support band, I will be happy. I will be more than happy, because that really is the next challenge for us. Now, according to the poll, let's go to the poll. I never read out the poll. I always forget. Can we break out this week? 62% have said yes. 38% have said no. So nearly 2/3 have said that we will break out. And for the record, can I just point something out? You were all, let me just wait for this advert to finish playing. You were all absolutely spot on, because I believe half of you said that we would get a 0.5% cut, and only a quarter of you said 0.25. So you were all right. So congratulations, you beat Mike at the game of guess the Fed rate cut. So congratulations to everybody. Now, I am back in the morning. There is a possibility that the Oracle streams tonight. It will either be tonight or it will be tomorrow night. I will let you know. But I will be back tomorrow at the usual time, the usual place. Hopefully we won't have the shaky start that we've had today. Thank you all for coming. You know who you are. Kishan, Chris, Packer, Tariq is there, saving up for his Tesla. Eugene, I'm going to miss people's names out, aren't I, by reading them. Mags is here as well. I always miss Mags' names out because he comments first. So thank you, everybody. See you all in the morning. Hopefully Brogan will be back tonight. I'll put it in the calendar of years. and have a great Thursday.